Bueno, señores, tenemos en este momento una información de última hora. La persona de interés en el tiroteo de la Universidad Brown es arrestada después de 14 horas de fuga cuando 2 personas fallecieron y 9 resultaron heridas en el campus. Todavía el FBI no quiere revelar cuál es el nombre de esta persona o su nacionalidad. Una persona de interés está bajo custodia después de que 2 personas fallecieron y varios resultaron heridos en un tiroteo masivo en la Universidad de Brown en Rhode Island el sábado por la noche. La policía confirmó que un hombre no identificado de unos 30 años fue detenido en Hampton Inns, Coventry, la madrugada del domingo. El jefe de la policía, el coronel Oscar Pérez, no especificó si el hombre está relacionado con la Eve Lake y no afirmó que fuera sospechoso. El tirador, que estaba armado con una pistola, disparó más de 40 balas de 9 milímetros, dijeron funcionarios encargados de hacer cumplir la ley. Hasta el domingo por la mañana aún no se había recuperado ninguna arma, pero la policía encontró 2 cargadores cargados de 30 balas, dijo el Associated Press. La primera llamada al 911 reportando disparos en el prestigioso edificio de ingeniería de Brown se realizó a las 4:05 de la tarde, el sábado, en medio de la temporada de exámenes de fin de semestre de los estudiantes. A última hora de la noche del sábado, la policía publicó un breve video de una persona de interés caminando mientras dobla la esquina en Waterman Street. El mismo hombre del video, vestido con un traje completamente negro, fue detenido en medio de una oleada de actividad policial alrededor de las 3 de la madrugada, según la CNN. Los miembros del SWAT de la policía se reúnen dentro de la Biblioteca de Ciencias de la Universidad de Brown después del tiroteo el sábado, señores. Estas son imágenes de lo que se está presenciando. El FBI allana una habitación de hotel tras el tiroteo masivo mientras la policía detiene a una persona de interés. Los estudiantes aterrorizados de la universidad, señores, tuvieron que refugiarse en sus casas durante horas durante la noche. Esta medida se levantó a las 7 de la mañana. El alcalde dijo que los habitantes de esta localización deberían respirar un pequeño suspiro de alivio tras el arresto. Confirmó en una conferencia de prensa a las 7 de la mañana el domingo que hoy habrá una mayor presencia policial en esta provincia. Muchos negocios locales anunciaron que permanecerán cerrados en medio de la conmoción y la angustia que ha sacudido a la comunidad. Todos estamos tambaleándonos y tenemos mucho camino por recorrer para recuperarnos. Nuestra comunidad es fuerte y saldremos adelante, pero es devastador esto. También, señores, se confirmó que 9 personas están heridas y 2 fallecidos en el tiroteo masivo, y que las pistas de la comunidad local fueron cruciales para realizar el arresto en las primeras horas de la mañana del día de hoy. Miren esto, la Universidad Brown tiene más de 800 cámaras y el tirador desapareció de todos modos. Bienvenido a la Universidad de Brown, donde la matrícula es alta, el café se quema y el gran hermano siempre está mirando, excepto aparentemente cuando alguien empieza a disparar. Hagamos cuenta, resulta que la universidad tiene más de 800 cámaras de vigilancia en el campus. No era, señores, una universidad cualquiera, es una universidad prestigiosa. En una por cada 9 estudiantes de pregrado o aproximadamente el mismo número de profesores a tiempo completo. Imagínenselo como una universidad privada de la Eve Lake, con precios de élite y la estética de seguridad de un Walmart Supercenter. Los estudiantes no lo llamaban la escuela de vigilancia, en broma, era un diagnóstico. Entonces, ¿cómo en un lugar más acorralado que Fort Knox, un tirador abrió fuego y huyó del lugar y logró desaparecer de las autoridades? El sistema de vigilancia de la universidad, elogiado en las visitas oficiales y odiado en silencio por los estudiantes, no es una red de seguridad, es un panfleto, señores, un placebo. Hace que los administradores se sientan seguros y los estudiantes se sientan vigilados sin llegar a atrapar a la única persona que desearían. Esta es la verdad que no van a publicar en las revistas de los ex alumnos o tampoco lo van a publicar en los medios de comunicación. Las cámaras no detienen el crimen, pero lo graban y con suerte ayudan a identificar al sospechoso después del hecho, pero solo si la grabación es utilizable. Alguien la revisa y por pequeño detalle la cámara no apuntaba a una máquina expendedora. Ni se te ocurre empezar con publicamos un video. Si la policía publicó un clip de 10 segundos de alguien que quizás se alejaba del campus, filmado desde lo que parecía ser una cámara de vigilancia en el tercer piso, o un reconocimiento facial o pista procesable, no sabemos. Así que aquí estamos, cientos de cámaras, un crimen de alto perfil y ni un solo arresto. Resulta que se puede cubrir un campus de vigilancia, pero si nadie mira, o peor aún, si nadie sabe cómo mirar, no importa, porque lo único más vergonzoso por ser conocido como la escuela de vigilancia es ser la escuela de vigilancia que aún así perdió al sospechoso. O sea, ¿cómo es posible, señores, que la persona de interés la capturaron casi que 24 horas después? Imagínate. Y todavía no sabemos quién es esa persona. Ahora bien, momento sorprendente, un senador demócrata está culpando al presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, por el tiroteo de la universidad. El senador demócrata Chris Murphy culpó al presidente por el horroroso tiroteo en la universidad. El político de Connecticut se sentó con Dana Bash de la CNN el domingo por la mañana para hablar sobre el tiroteo del sábado por la noche que dejó 2 estudiantes fallecidos. Este tipo, señores, está diciendo que la culpa la tiene el presidente. Él dijo, las tasas de violencia armada y tiroteos masivos han disminuido en este país. Pero esto no es sorprendente porque durante el último año el presidente Trump ha estado involucrado en una campaña vertiginosa para aumentar la violencia en este país. Está restaurando el derecho a poseer armas a los criminales y a las personas que han perdido su capacidad de comprar armas. Eliminó la oficina de la Casa Blanca para la protección contra la violencia armada y dejó de financiar la subvención de salud mental y la subvención comunitaria contra la violencia armada, que los republicanos y los demócratas apoyaron en ese proyecto de ley del 2002. Murphy agregó sobre el presidente, por lo tanto, ha estado involucrado en una campaña bastante deliberada para tratar de hacer que la violencia sea más posible en este país, y creo que lamentablemente veremos los resultados de eso en las calles de los Estados Unidos. ¿Puedes creerlo? El senador está diciendo que la culpa la tuvo el presidente. Mira esto.
We haven't had the wherewithal to do anything in Washington we did a little bit a few years ago, but of means for years and years and years. But having said that, Rhode Island has some pretty strict gun laws. They have universal background checks, red flag laws, waiting periods to purchase a gun. So this is about, and we've talked about this, much more than gun violence. It is gun violence, but the laws could be stronger, but they're stronger than other places in Rhode Island.
Well, but the laws do make a difference. I mean, if you look at states like Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, California that have stronger laws, we have gun violence rates, murder rates, mass shooting rates that are 2 to 3 to 4 times lower than states that have loose gun laws. And many of the weapons that are used in our states for gun crimes come to our states from those states that have an ability for criminals and people with serious mental illness to buy weapons. So what we know is that stronger laws do work. And since we passed that bill in 2022, the first bill in 30 years that strengthens the nation's gun laws, gun violence rates and mass shooting rates have come down in this country. But this is not shocking because over the last year, President Trump has been engaged in a dizzying campaign to increase violence in this country. He is restoring gun rights to felons and people who have lost their ability to buy guns. He eliminated the White House Office of Gun Violence Protection, and he has stopped funding mental health grants and community anti-gun violence grants that Republicans and Democrats supported in that 2022 bill. So he has been engaged in a pretty deliberate campaign to try to make violence more likely in this country. And I think you're unfortunately going to see the results of that on the streets of America.
That's a pretty big statement. He's in a campaign to make violence more likely?
Of course. I mean, he's knowingly restoring gun rights to dangerous people. He is cutting off grants that have bipartisan support to try to interrupt violence in our cities or to try to get necessary mental health resources to families and children in need. The evidence tells you that when you stop funding mental health, when you stop funding community anti-gun violence programs, when you give gun rights back to dangerous people, you are going to have an increase in violence that is knowable and that is foreseeable.
Sí, señores. Ahora, las autoridades de Providence, en esta localización, se niegan a divulgar cualquier información sobre el sospechoso detenido después del tiroteo masivo en la Universidad de Brown, porque podría comprometer la investigación o futuros cargos. Supuestamente ya tienen al sospechoso bajo custodia, pero no sabemos quién es, cuál es su nacionalidad, si ese individuo estudiaba allí o cualquier información que nosotros debemos saber. Vamos a escuchar a continuación este informe que trae Fox News sobre este tema. Miren esto.
Good morning, Walt. This morning, Brown University remains under lockdown. There is a shelter-in-place order still in effect here at Brown University, as now we are at 14 hours into the manhunt for this person, a person of interest believed to be the shooter responsible for killing 2 Brown University students and wounding 9 other students while he opened fire in a classroom during final exam period. Now, this video shows the suspect dressed in black. He's walking calmly away from the scene, which is inside the Barris and Holly Engineering Building. Police do not have a clear image of his face, and they say he may have been wearing a camouflage mask.
He could be in his 30s, but we're not positive. That's our first inclination. He's unidentified, so we don't know if people may be helping him or not at this point.
Police have been evacuating students and staff from academic and administrative buildings within a specific security perimeter. Students and staff in residence halls are urged to stay put. The perimeter area is marked by red boxes on this map. More than 400 police officers are on scene as they meticulously work to canvass the area for evidence, looking for more video footage and to clear the area outside of Brown University. Though the mayor of Providence had this message for the surrounding community.
In the hours that have eclipsed since the initial shooting, we've received no additional credible information that there is any specific ongoing threat from this individual, and so we do not believe these events need to be canceled. We do believe you can safely go to church in the morning.
Again, as for a timeline of the events, at 4:05 p.m. yesterday, Brown received the initial call of an active shooter. At 4:22, Brown University issued its first alert to stay away from the area. At 5:27 p.m., authorities received reports of shots fired near Governor Street. Those reports were unfounded. Now, this shooting took place in a review session led by a teaching assistant in preparation for a final exam of Principles of Economics. The room has stadium seating. The shooter came in through the doors and yelled something, and students started to scramble. They tried to get away from the shooter, duck in their seats, but unfortunately 11 students were shot, 2 killed. The president of Brown University released a statement saying, in part, "We lost 2 community members today who were fatal victims of the shooting, and at this point we know there are at least 8 additional victims who were transported to the hospital. In this moment they are in critical but stable condition, but this is an evolving situation. Our hearts are with their families." And guys, the doors to the engineering building were unlocked because this is final exam period. We have no video of the shooter going into the building, and there is no video of the shooter inside of the building. The FBI is asking people to submit any photos or videos that they may have to the FBI.gov/Brown University shooting. And if you have any tips, call 401-652-5767. Guys.
Hey, Brian, you say that the school is still on lockdown 14 hours after. Does that mean that there are still students in place where they were 14 hours ago when the shooting happened?
That is, at this hour, plausible, yes, because the last update we got was just before 2 a.m., and that was a message that was sent to the university instructing folks that are in academic and administrative buildings, students and staff, to remain there until the police come and evacuate them. And it is now 6 a.m. It's possible that that evacuation is done, but we've received no word yet, and no alerts have been sent to the university community. So as of right now, those who are still in that perimeter area, in that security area, are urged to stay in place until they see police if you are in an administrative or academic building.
And Brian, as we look at specifically this engineering building, orient us a little bit on it. It seems pretty remarkable that there isn't more surveillance of this attacker getting in. And we have the map up on your screen, the Bruce and Holly apparently engineering building. Is this sort of a center part of the campus that this individual was able to get into with relatively little surveillance?
Yeah, it is pretty remarkable that 14 hours in, that is the only surveillance video we have. For those who don't know, Brown University, it is in a neighborhood called College Hill. It overlooks Providence, Rhode Island, which is the city. It's right across the river, but the campus is really within an urban environment. So I think what the police here are doing, it is surprising that they didn't have video from within that engineering building showing this person going in or within the building itself. I think at this point, they're asking folks within the surrounding community to take a look at their Ring cameras. Maybe somebody had a cell phone and saw something. I'm sure they believe, given the fact that this university is within an urban setting, that there's somebody with a camera somewhere that has a better image of this suspect, guys.
Brian, I don't want to belabor the camera situation, but I just want to make something clear. Is it that the university doesn't have these surveillance cameras inside or outside of the building, or is it that they weren't functioning?
You know, we don't know. And it's also possible that that this shooter, we don't know how he entered the building. We don't know if they potentially have more video within the last 6-7 hours since they had their last press conference. So we have no idea why this is the only video we have thus far. But we do know that there was surveillance video inside the building that caught commotion of students running for their lives, but did not catch, for whatever reason, the shooter. So that'll be something that'll be part of the investigation today.
So there have been varying reports that maybe the shooter said something before he began firing in that classroom. Do we have any information about whether any of those claims are true?
So the person who said that was somebody who was inside of that specific classroom. That is an eyewitness report. And they said that they yelled something, but they couldn't make out what particular person couldn't make out what the gunman yelled. It is notable, though, that in a sprawling university community, knowing that the doors are unlocked, perhaps, and specifically targeting one classroom in a specific engineering building, I'm sure that is a big part of the investigation, that perhaps this may have been targeted. We don't know, but that is certainly a clue they'll be looking at.
And the yelling could have been in response to the appearance of the shooter.
Well, no, I'm sorry. There was yelling coming from the shooter. They just could not make out what the gunman was saying. Yeah.
Right.
And just lastly, Brian, we know now the FBI, the ATF are there, presumably sort of in the lead of the investigation. Any indication that we may hear from any officials later this morning?
I believe there is a press conference set for 9 a.m. That may change, so we hope to get an update then. They also said that if they receive any real major news before then, we could hear from them. So that's important. Also, I will note that you mentioned the ATF. The gun used in this is reportedly a handgun, according to the Associated Press. You better believe the ATF is doing everything they can to trace that weapon, which should be a major clue in this as well.
All right, Brian Yunus, live for us on the campus of Brown University. Brian, great reporting. Thank you. We'll check back in with you as news warrants.
Thank you, Brian.